Hey, they have a really cool back room here.
A cool bathroom?
No, back room.
Oh!
We probably could have smoked those outside.
I feel like it's the kind of place I would have enjoyed more if I was alone.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was way too talkative in there.
I kept trying to talk too.
Well, maybe it is a little brisk out here to smoke cigars.
Fate is telling us to make other plans.
I should take you home.
It started with the smoke, the way it lingered in the car, and even at home later that night, the way it follows us. It made things clear in a way that they weren't just moments before. And, in life's infuriating way, it was bad writing. Scarred in high school, Fred confided in me once. Shit, I need to make a name for him. Before we had just, after a rare moment of vulnerability peeked its head through the unmowed, tall grass of confidence he generally walked around with. Scratch all that, no, too much metaphor. This pillar of confidence, this boy, this man, regularly giving off the confident shine of William F. Buckley and dressing accordingly.
Bill, we'll call him.
Bill? Billy? Not Willie, surely.
Why is it so political? It wants to be political. It knows what it's doing. No, okay. In a move that was especially Vidal-esque. Dabney! Get off of that! You know I buy the expensive glitter.
He had plans. He knew where it was going. He was going to marry her. He decided already. Though calling it a decision is almost like pointing out how one expects the sun to keep doing what it does forever. It was the culture he knew and had accepted long ago. The moment in question was hormonal and irrational, but understandable as a precursor to decades of acceptable conformity to the world they'd been assured was on the horizon. When her father walked in, it wasn't the end of that world, merely the end of his perceived control over it.
Don't get shit all over the neighborhood.
I tried twice to get intimate with him, only to find that this past experience left him unwilling to even take his tie off. Although the nagging suspicion I'm left with is not that it's about his tie, or a fear that there are infinite prudish fathers about to walk through every door, but rather that he no longer is ready to engage without being engaged. Ring or no ring, I wasn't an endgame. So the tie stays tied, and he pulls the back of my shirt down instead of up, firmly around his neck, inches from suffocating him until he finds, "Don't get shit all over the neighborhood."
So, what is my message? What is the preferred way to get my message across? How does English prefer I get it across? Focus on the linguistic and syntactical choices. You have the rest of this class to work on it.
You start out really weak. Here, I don't think you know what this word means, because you used it wrong there, but...
Disillusionment.
Yeah.
I don't even remember writing that.
Okay, well, you wrote it, so...
You have an almost surreal approach to some of the scenes. I mean, it paints a picture, but I don't feel like it happened that way. It'd be great for fiction, but
It all happened that way, obviously.
I don't know how to picture it as anything not overly stylized.
I tell you how.
And you've got to let the scenes breathe a little bit. Do you need all that Buckley-Vidal stuff? The history of neoconservative...
I don't want to get bogged down in all the details.
Oh, and you don't need to tell us he's Republican. It's obvious. He wears a tie. I mean, unless I'm missing the connection completely, it just feels like you've been gossiping about the poor guy.
He's not poor. He wears a tie.
Okay, did you get a chance to read mine? Or?
I did.
Okay.
And let's see. The notion of female power.
That's not mine.
Well, anyway, what'd you think of mine?
I think the writing's strong, but the Pacific Crest Trail, really.
What?
Do you even Cheryl Strayed, bro?
What?
It's wild. Same thing.
I didn't read it. I mean, I know who she is. I listened to her podcast.
She also watched the PCT, too. Battle personal demons.
Mine's not the same, though.
Even subconsciously. Are your parents alive?
Yes.
Grandparents?
Yes.
Both sets?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
What about great-grandparents?
No. Ha! Just because my great-grandparents are dead doesn't mean I hiked the PCT to get over it. I'm not Cheryl Strayed. You would know that if you actually read it.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm one of those readers who needs a couple of go-arounds to really hone in on plot. I'm more interested in the tone and particularities of the writing. Oh, I did notice, actually, though, that...
I have a painful and presumably undiagnosable muscle nerve disease that hurts unless I build up lactic acid. Sitting here right now is like how normal people feel running a marathon.
You're right. It's a good pitch.
It's not a pitch. It actually happened, asshole.
I think we're done. Does anyone else need a new partner?
Want one?
No. I've got to teach in a minute here.
Yeah, me too. I hide out here so that the students can't find me.
You don't think they judge you differently if they smell the smoke? It's like a weakness. If you're not in shape, have the appearance of perfect health, and are always alert, you pounce.
Fuckers.
Almost done, at least. Do you want to read my final semester paper before thesis time starts?
Not particularly. I hear enough about your love life.
You can't compare everything to Melville just because that's all you read.
That's not true. I've read Hawthorne.
So Melville's love life counts as interesting.
Comparatively.
I think it's because it's not conventional. No, I think it's because it is conventional. I'm not secretly gay while traditionally married, so you're bored.
I mean, we're all boring compared to those guys.
Gay guys?
Hawthorne and Melville, are you sure you don't want one?
Wow. Polluting and smoking. Badass grad assistant over here.
Cigarette butts biodegrade. It's like throwing an apple core in grass.
Really? I didn't know that. Well, anyway, I've got to get in here.
Hey, Mr. Worcester. Mr. Worcester. Okay, I don't know what Blackboard is, but the reading's wrong.
Yeah,
I
I fucking posted
I know
that
the
shit a week
whiteboard, but it was on the whiteboard.
All right, I mean,
in
god
class,
damn it,
but I want-
guys.
What does signifier over signified equal? Bet you didn't think you'd be doing equations in here, did you? Signifier over signified equals sign, right? So you all read this thesaurus homework. What does this mean?
What does this mean? Pull out your reading. Okay, so remember last time how we were talking about the imaginary order, you know, when one person begins to misrecognize the meta-awareness of self versus not self in a pre-linguistic sense. This reading takes us back even further to really concretize that and break that down, right? Okay, so what does the source say? Yes?
The signifier is the sound of saying it?
Exactly. The acoustic image expressing your thought, the thing's sound. Okay, good. So what's the signified? Yes, the thing itself. You're getting it. Okay, so like a horse is this thing, right? Okay. Horse. Right? Okay. So here we have this horse. Stephen, wake up. Thanks. Okay, so your horse here is your thing, but because of semiotics, we need a lexical way of expressing that. So horse here is our signified, but we need a signifier to make it a sign. Phones away, please. Okay, so yes, we need, so what is our signifier here for horse?
The word horse?
Yes, exactly.
War horse.
What?
The signifier is war horse?
Word horse.
Who's word horse?
No, the word horse. Not a title like, I'm word horse. Literally just the word horse. It'll make more sense written out. What are you doing? Sit down.
Throwing this away.
Give me that. Sit down.
I borrow a pen.
No. You know not to get up during a lecture unless you have group work. Okay, so then that leaves us with the relationship between the I spelled that wrong. Let's fix that one. Signifier. Got it. Okay, so that leaves us with the relationship between the signifier and the signified, which is arbitrary, conventional, and differential. What does that mean? Write those down. Okay, I know this stuff is really abstract and crazy, but it'll help when you're writing your sentences for your final project next week, whether you're sticking with English or not. Well, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on that you don't need to feel is part of some mystical tradition. It's just linguistics. And it does start to click after we get past this part. You know, there's just wait till we get to the paradigmatic viewpoint in a minute here. So then we have, so then it'll be easier to focus.
Got these ideas in my head. I wanna make them into something. Where do I start? Time is ticking. Right here in the now. There's that mess in your head and your crazy conscience. Just a matter of when. Make it all
You want this when I'm done?
If you don't mind.
No. Are you on probation or something?
No. Do they do that on probation?
I don't really know how crime works. I'm a lowly creative nonfiction graduate student.
Ecology.
Ecology, nice. So, what do you do with the butts? Compost them?
These are just regular pollution. I do have a container in my backpack for compost though.
I thought they biodegrade.
Convenient rumor for cigarette companies.
Really? My friend literally just told me that.
He probably believes it too, but it's easier that way. Less guilt.
Huh.
Same way people think they can just throw gum on the ground and birds won't choke on it and die.
So, where do you take them?
These, just trash can. But I do have a container in my, compost container in my backyard that I use to put compost in. Yeah. Here, a picture. So it's just like this box that I made, and it has an open top.
So the stuff just turns into dirt?
Yeah, I use it as fertilizer, essentially. And when there's too much of it, I bring it out to like big open spaces when I get selected to go on research trips. It's cool.
Like magic.
They'll probably talk about it or something similar to it at the debate here. Are you going to go?
Oh, I hadn't actually decided yet. Here, do you want this guy?
Yes, I do. Thanks.
Yeah, I was probably just gonna go home and take a nap to a true crime podcast. But
do you like podcasts? Have you listened to Radio Tomorrow?
I think so, actually. What was the one I listened to? Oh, did they do an episode on sperm?
They did.
Yeah, I remember. I was turning on the radio and I was looking for a classical station while I was working on a writing project. But then, then this sperm episode came on and what do you know? Bam, an hour gone.
That's the only one you listen to?
Yeah.
They do a lot of really great non-reproductive episodes too. Like, I get selected sometimes and I go on these research trips, and so I have a lot of time to listen to them. I listen to like way too many of them, but they're really good. They talk a lot about environmental topics and stuff. It's cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was considering doing my thesis on something environmental. That's what caught my eye originally, not the sperm.
An excuse to have something to write about?
That's sort of where my life is right now at the moment. I was running earlier and I saw all these signs on these trees and they're about like an emerald ash borer, and so I thought maybe I could do something about that.
That's actually a really big problem. Like, the ash borer is killing millions of trees across the country, and they're wondering if they should use insecticide or just cut the trees down and plant new ones.
Oh, it's insecticide. So it's a bug?
Yeah, it's a pest.
Huh, no kidding. Look, it's tangible, literally saving trees.
There's some fundraisers going on to raise funds to replace trees with something new, one-to-one, that you could potentially try to get involved with.
I'm a little late to the party on this, aren't I? Maybe I should find something else. Scratch that. I'm Camille Green, by the way.
Rebecca Durst.
Goats.
I do think that is fundamentally the word of the day. It's why people are here, right? Mm-hmm. They're here because in our episode, on our radio show, we cannot get past the word goats. We are stuck on goats and we haven't gotten past it today.
We are stuck on goats.
Together. Yes, we are so stuck on goats together that you're all here to hear us talk about it.
So you're going to tell the poor people what they're here for then?
Well, how many people here actually listened to the Darwin's Legacy episode of the show? Oh, okay. Kind of a lot.
Well, I mean, why are you even here? You already know the ending.
I think what Artie's trying to say is that we really haven't gotten that much further. I mean, we have our breaking point that we reached in that episode, and we're pretty much in the same place we were when we recorded that.
But, we didn't really get into the disagreement that much, so that's what we're here to do today.
Yeah, it's like a giant deleted scene here.
I like that there as an analogy and a segue, a big deleted scene, something that you can choose to excise from the final product because you only need so much to have a successful outcome.
Clever. But don't you feel bad about the goats? For those of you who didn't listen, the goats, who didn't listen to the episode, basically the story is the goats were brought to the Galapagos Island by pirates and whalers and whoever else happened to be passing by, and basically they were just an alternative meal plan to eating turtles.
Sometimes you gotta spice it up.
Right, but the problem then becomes, you put a bunch of goats on that island, and the goats have baby goats, and the baby goats become adults, and they have other baby goats, and then hundreds of years later, you've got all these goats that are eating everything on the island, and so the vegetation's all gone, and there's no habitat now for the animals that lived there before.
Turtles.
The turtles no longer have a place to be on the island, because the goats have eaten everything.
So, like the good environmentalists they are, they enact Project Isabella. Chasing down all the goats all across the island, like...
Just like that.
Just like that. But it works. Plants begin to reemerge, trees start to grow back, people are tripping over turtles again.
With the exception of a few extinctions on a couple of the islands, you end up with what's basically like a textbook definition case for what's called the Eden approach to environmentalism, which is where you're trying to get everything to go back to this pre-human, pristine, utopic ideal. And so what that means is, on islands where there are a bunch of goats, you're enacting a perpetual pogrom on them to kill them all, get rid of them, and go back to this, this pristine wilderness, this wonderful utopic ideal. But the question really that you end up with is it realistic to think that you can make something? Can you make a pristine wilderness untouched by man today?
I say no. The planet is changing with us, just as Darwin was noticing.
I think basically it comes down to a question of responsibility, right? So you and I and everyone here, all of humanity, we're basically God. We can control it all. We can decide what stays, what goes, what we want to preserve. So your question then, if you're God, is how do you choose between goats and turtles?
Or do you have to?
Well, but if you choose not to choose, then that is your choice. You are making a choice still.
See, what I think it always comes back to, for me, is if Darwin's theory is that life is change, essentially, then why do we need to enact havoc on certain species just to try and prevent the change that is going to happen anyway?
Because what about the turtles?
Well, that's my whole point. I mean, you try to save the turtles, right? But you can't save all of them. So you end up with some sort of, Noah's Ark scenario where you're trying to save all the turtles. But in reality, you can't save even most of them. You can't undo humanity.
I don't disagree as far as
Sunday morning at the Radcliffs, pillar porches, arched doorway, bay window seats. Let the butler take your jacket. Let's make small talk, let's make quiche.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I've enrolled at Brown or Talbot.
You're okay in the toilet now.
Sister says that she prefers the academy. Finds their skirts much more attractive. She's got no nose for irony, but I can taste it on my tongue. I'm not blaming anyone. It's amazing we've become so still. I see this every day, and I'm leaving by the way. Saint Cecilia couldn't save us now. Miss my pleated leather, miss my cashmere sweater. Hope this letter finds you well. Please don't be mistaken, it's your heart I'm breaking. Here's the story that I tell. If you never gotta work, then you never gotta learn. If you never gotta learn, then you never gotta earn your keep, your place, your spot up on the shelf. Now they scramble back to find me. Curtains blowing, clothes are thrown all around the floor. Murder's looking very likely. Looking's looking like a chore. But God forbid you try too hard. It's a bitch to be a part of something bigger than yourself. I see this every day, and I'm leaving by the way. Saint Cecilia couldn't save us now. Miss my pleated leather, miss my cashmere sweater. Hope this letter finds you well.
Hello?
Camille,
Fred?
how are you doing?
Well, Dagny peed on my blanket, so I cleaned it and then I set it outside to dry, but now other cats, like the neighbor's cat, keeps peeing on it. How are you? Are we still talking to each other?
Your cat's name is Dagny?
Yeah, after Dagny Taggart. I told you that.
I don't remember.
I think all cats are basically objectivists. You know, definitely non-interventionist in foreign policy, you know. I like to think she wouldn't ditch Reardon in the end.
Can we meet somewhere where we can talk?
Sure.
God damn!
What's with that?
Well, as you see, my fellow Americans, we are currently playing golf.
I don't know if I want...
Oh, it'll take the edge off, don't worry.
I'm meeting with my thesis advisor this evening. I need to be, sober and straight.
It'll be out of your system before then. Trust me. For me, Camille, please. Oh, don't swallow. You'll feel it in just a little bit.
Okay. I'm gonna need to revise my final paper this semester. You're not really how I wrote you. I jumped to too many conclusions.
What do you mean?
You know that you and my project doesn't carry around acid in his wallet?
Wait. Why do you write about me?
Well, that's what I do. That's my major, creative nonfiction.
Creative nonfiction? Well, then why don't you just write about, I don't know, William F. Buckley?
You are obsessed with Buckley and Vidal, aren't you? I did get that right. That's exciting.
Hey, listen, that is none of your business, okay?
I'm not really going to revise it anyway. It's too late. We only meet one more time this semester. You're named Bill in it.
Creative nonfiction, what even is that?
It's about me.
I'm not you.
You are a kind of interesting part of my life.
Camille, I don't want nor need a biographer following me around calling me Bill. I want a woman that I can take out dancing or take her out to vote for the midterm elections.
Well,
look, Camille, I tried. It's just not gonna work. I'm a damn fool. Goodbye.
Ideas in my head, I wanna make them into something. Where do I start? Time is ticking. Right here in the night. Let's have mess in your head.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been a time for such a word. Tomorrow, 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 and tomorrow, 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 and tomorrow, tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow.
Welcome to Radio Tomorrow. I'm Dan Heflin.
And I'm Arnie Kent.
Today, we're doing something a little bit different and looking backwards.
Radio yesterday.
We're looking at a legacy starting in the last century and re-examining it today. Eventually, we'll swing back to what's coming up after us.
All right, well, I've got coffee, so let's do it.
Beagles.
Beagles?
Well, not beagles. A beagle. The beagle, in fact.
So not a dog.
Not a dog. We're in the past now. July 1820. The HMS Beagle is the first ship to sail completely under the old London Bridge, done to celebrate the coronation of King George IV.
Say, Dan, did they take the scenic route and end up back in the Galapagos?
No, but you're absolutely right about where we are going. On a future voyage, it's exactly where the HMS Beagle ended up. And that's only something we know because of who was a passenger on that voyage.
Chucky D. Charles Darwin.
That's exactly right.
This volume contains, in the form of a journal, a history of our voyage and a sketch of those observations in natural history and geology, which I think will possess some interest for the general reader.
Is that Darwin?
Yes. Well, it is Darwin as read by producer Sam Enderby.
The neighborhood of Porto Praya, viewed from the sea, was a desolate aspect. The volcano fires of a past age and the scorching heat.
When do we get to the evolving turtles?
Well, yeah. Most people do tend to go along with the simplest version of discoveries in accepted history.
That is Jonas Fadala, professor of biology at the University of Florida.
Charles Darwin popularized evolution, sure, but he did not invent the basis for the concept, transmutation.
Is that where he turns a wafer into Christ?
It is the hypothesis about the evolution of different species that all come from common origins.
Quite the history Darwin was drawing from. The voyage of the Beagle wasn't so much a eureka moment as it provided him with concrete field experience and observations that he could in turn base his future work upon.
Future work meaning origin of species?
On the origin of species, that's exactly right. He didn't quite just look at the finches and rethink everything, but that's a much better story.
So the question then becomes, what really happened? All that and more after this quick break.
People try to tell me I'm in trouble. Baby shoots them right between the eyes. People try to tell me I should run away. People never see my baby cry. Oh, break me from these chains before all the vultures packing my remains. I never would have thought that I'd get caught. I thought I'd touch it not. Bird, won't you fly away?
No. Honey, I'm telling you places you can look. You complaining about my suggestions kind of ruins the point in you calling to ask my advice. Well, then look there. I don't know where you put them. I don't keep track of your things. That's not my job. Check the left cupboard in the mudroom. I don't know why you put them there. Why did you call me? I'll see you tonight. Jesus. Sorry about that. You can probably count that as your birth control for the month. Any idea what happened here?
I was a little off about that guy.
Yeah, well, this will slide, but I'm hoping you're working on something a little more substantive for next semester.
That's exactly what I'm here about.
Not this.
No, we can forget about that. That is a casualty we can't save. I've got something much more expansive and important that I'm going to do.
For your thesis?
Exactly. I'm going to do this big piece on environmentalism. You know, relevant, poignant, important, making the world's ills personal. You know, this person I met told me about composting, and so I started doing that, and now I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, not the most original idea, but Okay. Maybe it could work. What's your angle?
Green on green.
Excuse me?
It's my working title. You know, like my name, reporting on the world, the environment. Green on green. You know, I know it's a little on the nose, but it's just going to be me talking about the world, taking the world side. I mean, if people my age can't speak out, then who will? You know, I don't know. I want it to be something that matters. Something that can be too personal, but affects people outside of me. It needs to mirror my own personal journey, but with a tangible and intangible representation.
You're not an expert on ecology, though, so what's your experience that led you to this?
I'm in a delicate stage of muse invocation right now. I know I have something, but I don't quite have it all yet. Here's where I need your help. I've been crying while listening to Radio Tomorrow and having epiphanies from there. It's profoundly cliche and not an interesting narrative.
Well put. I agree.
Don't need to soften the blows.
But most people wouldn't choose to write their thesis on something they have to both manufacture and only have months to process. The average person writes about something that happened to them, I don't know, 10 years ago. Things happen to you, but the intangible isn't in front of you. Looking back, it's an arc. I don't know so much about in the middle of it, though.
Do you ever find it's easier to process after writing?
That's a different kind of writing. Don't wing your thesis just because you can. Maybe a university-sponsored research project could take you on as an observer or a volunteer. Volunteer. Go with that. Get out there, get some exposure, we'll regroup and see where you're at. Stop listening to the radio and get some experience. Feel things, okay?
I can do that. I can feel things. Thank you.
Okay. And, Camille, one more thing.
Yeah.
Are you high right now?
Hey, do you know where I'd find the people who go on research trips?
That way, maybe?
Okay, thanks. Can I have your butt when you're done?
Your what?
Your butt?
Mine?
Yeah.
Sure. You just want the whole thing?
Yeah.
Won't you fly away? Save yourself, just fly away.
Rebecca? Rebecca? Rebecca?
It's just try straight to the gym. He gets so drunk that he gets lost in the mental blocks.
Ooh, listen. Do you like Beethoven? It's so cliche to play Beethoven in a cafe, don't you think? The original top 40s.
I love Beethoven. There's just something so beautiful about the movements and the people all playing in sync with each other. They create this sound that, you know, like we don't even really think twice about.
Yeah, he's good. I've heard his sister actually wrote most of the good music, but he took credit because patriarchy.
Is that real? I've never even heard of that.
Patriarchy?
No, Beethoven.
Yeah, Beethoven's real.
I know Beethoven's real. I meant the thing about his sister. I guess I just always admired him so much for writing so much music after he went deaf, but maybe that's not the real story. So, what's going on? You seem to be in quite the huff.
Huffing and puffing and blowing down houses. Actually, you're really easy to find. I only look like an idiot for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I've been just kind of getting ready for finals, talking with teachers and other researchers, trying to get everything in order for this water trip that I'm going on. Did I tell you about that?
Yes, you did. That's actually why I came to find you.
What do you mean?
What is this trip you're going on?
Well, it's like an annual thing, and sometimes they bring in new people, and sometimes they have
Room
like
in the car?
What? Sorry, I cut you off. Finish. Yeah, so sometimes they have it's like a research trip, and we measure the water levels on these little ponds. Well, I guess they're not really like ponds; they're more like lakes. They're not quite lake caliber. They're like lake-ish, pondish, pond. Anyway, so there are these lakes and ponds, and we measure the water levels every year, and then compare it to other years, and collect some other data, stuff like that. It's all a big part of like a research grant.
Oh, that's awesome. So there's a grant involved? It's not just for a class?
Yeah, no, like I don't get any class credit for it, but I do get a little stipend, but I've been volunteering for it for the past like 3 years, so they don't really worry about it too much anymore.
Is it much?
Mm-mm. It's kind of like a paid vacation.
Where do you go?
Up by Niobrara. It's a really cool cabin.
Would your team mind if I shadowed?
There's no team. It's just me. And I usually try to get everything done like the first day, and then have like the rest of the weekend to just hang out, relax.
How long?
I get paid for 4 days.
Okay. Are there a lot of trees and stuff? Like lots of nature?
Yeah, there's tons. There's actually really not a lot of civilization things at all. Like you can walk around and not see anybody. You can walk around and like not talk to anybody. It's pretty cool. There's cows, some really cool bugs, like really interesting and different. But it's kind of nerdy, I guess. But
that's perfect. Damn it.
Yeah. Your turn. What's going on?
Oh, well, I'm intending to write my thesis this fall about environmentalism. You know, kind of a call to arms to save the world, you know, from ourselves and, you know, from all the damage we do to it. I've been really interested in the topic ever since I started listening to these Radio Tomorrows and, you know, doing my own research. And, you know, it makes me feel something.
I don't know if I understand.
Do you feel things a lot?
Doesn't everyone feel things?
No, that's not true. It's some people we overanalyze everything, and then, you know, we try to put it all into this, make the next big memoir just so we can eat between teaching undergrads about Saussure. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a big washcloth that everything, you know, gets dirt onto, and then, you know, and I try to make sense of the dirt when I should just be living my life as a washcloth. Sorry, that was a first draft metaphor. I usually keep those to myself.
So you're trying to not think?
I think so. I just need to turn off all these screens and get out there, get away, and come back with an epiphany.
Like a souvenir.
For the soul. Okay, I mean, you know the Protestant Reformation? When did that happen? The 16th century?
I don't know anything about that.
Okay, well, there's Martin Luther, who decided one day, you know, shit's messed up and all. So then he nailed that list of changes he wanted to see on the church door and changed the beliefs of people forever. Don't you ever want to do that?
I don't know. I guess, like, I'm all for environmentalism. I just don't really think that you can change people.
That's probably what Luther said too. You know, but then all I needed to do was put it in writing, and then the wheels start spinning. That's all I'm doing. I want, you know, what I need to do is look for the wheels to start spinning for my thesis.
And that will be the next big memoir?
I know, it's kind of shitty, but to be honest, who doesn't want to write the next big memoir? I mean, not to say I want any of your stipend, you know, I'll be doing this pro bono if you'll have me. Maybe we'll only make it so it's an e-download, so there's no tree damage whatsoever.
I'm still not sure I understand what you're trying to do, but I wouldn't mind having some company, so consider yourself on board.
Thank you so much. Oh, this is great. Stars are aligning.
What are you writing?
3 things. First, you said you don't think you can change people. It's kind of a metaphor, isn't it? We're always changing the world around us and, changing species and causing extinctions, but somehow we're not allowed to change? Like, WTF, am I right?
Like, it goes back to, colonization. Like, we never really lost that mentality.
Exactly. God, you're a muse. I hope you talk a lot. Okay, so colonialism. Good. Okay, that's great. Colonialism, and you said you're on board, right? Like a ship. Like we're sailing.
I have a Kia.
No, it's a subtext thing. Like, okay, so sailing, whaling, maybe? Oh, I'll go and buy Moby Dick and, what's it called? Darwin, The Voyage of the Beagle.
What's the third thing?
You have an interesting nose. I drew a little picture and started writing some notes about it.
Excellent.
Okay, so when do we leave? I can buy some hiking sunglasses tomorrow.
Not till next week.
Really? That much time?
Finals, stuff like that. So, how does Friday morning, 8 a.m. sound?
Sure. Perfect. All our comp classes end on Thursday morning, I think. Thanks so much.
Sure. It'll be an interesting weekend. I've never read Moby Dick.
Oh, neither have I. You just need to skim for relevant details and obscure references. Are you kidding? That's like 500 pages long.
Do we need help with that?
Shut up! I didn't realize this was an alcohol-type party.
It's not a party, it's a celebration. It's to release that tension we got as our thesis semesters come into fall.
Isn't there still one more day of classes?
Welcome to your initiation of teaching comp for years to come.
Well, don't you feel tense drinking on school grounds? What if we get caught?
Full-time staff does this as well.
Do they? Do you know that for a fact?
It's conventional wisdom. Have fun. Take it easy. Be chill with it.
It's 9 o'clock somewhere.
California.
How can you say that humanism is actually modernism? Program and function more important than form and type? You call that humanism?
That's what I told him.
I get the sense that WB or our correspondents just like to say wonk.
Okay, what's your sign? You don't know your sign? When's your birthday?
June 18th.
June 18th. Okay, is that Gemini? I think so. Do you personally identify as a Gemini?
What? What does that even mean?
No, because you are born with the sign, but a lot of people say just don't.
Yeah. Got stuff. Here we go.
Well, I'll be doing 4 or 5 months of tracking the gender pronouns in the movies at the repertory series, and then I'll spend the next couple months doing the actual writing and whatnot.
I'm sure Vince is doing his typical white jacket bullshit.
Pretty much.
I'll be expanding my PCT papers and blog. I think I missed all the important information before, and there's analysis in all the wrong places.
Isn't it unfair that you guys just have to find insights into your own life and we have to compete with, the entire history of literary criticism?
There are just as many boring insights into the human condition. We're competing with way more, actually.
What is your insight into the human condition?
You can't ask that now.
Why? You don't think I have one?
I don't know. It just seems early in the process,
I hear you're already writing yours. Would you care to elaborate?
Well, I haven't had the epiphany moment yet, to really make it click, but I'm playing around with environmentalism.
Oh.
See, this is why we don't share insights into the human condition here. We just write it down.
Non-English people still have the capacity to get impressed.
I'm impressed with all of you. I think you're wonderful people. I'm in love with you. We're all going to get married. Marriage.
And Ted has reached his inebriation point.
What's the meaning of life, Ted?
Trick question. Where's the beer?
there saying that Rey is the first real feminist icon in the Star Wars trilogy. You know, well, I'm not only looking at the trilogy in this case. I'm just looking back at the prequels and the original trilogy in order to make it clear how feminism runs in the veins of George's true creation. We begin back with the Trade Federation's forceful. Not that kind of forceful. Obstructive. You know, the Trade Federation's
Just, you know, the nature researching.
I had the good fortune to find living here Mr. Richard Caulfield, an old schoolfellow and friend, to whose hospitality and kindness I was greatly indebted, and having afforded me a most pleasant residence during Beagle's stay in Chile. The immediate neighborhood of Valparaiso is not very productive to the naturalist. We will now turn to the order of reptiles, which gives the most striking character to the zoology of these islands. The species are not numerous, but the numbers of individuals of each species are extraordinarily great. There is one small lizard. That day I rode up the valley to the farthest inhabited spot. Shortly above that point, the Chacha Pool divides into two tremendous ravines which penetrate directly into the...
Okay, so she keeps peeing on this one blanket, but you know, if you keep her on dry food, she should be fine.
Why did you bring it inside?
I don't know. Other cats are using it now, so
Okay.
I downloaded all the Radio Tomorrows I could find. I think I'm mostly ready to go.
Sounds like a riveting piece. Have you ever thought of just writing reviews or commercials for their show?
No, I'm not going to mention it once in my thesis. This is a gateway to the real shit.
Green on real shit.
It's going to be good. I've got it all mapped out and everything, and I have like 40 pages written.
It hasn't happened yet.
What is it that Christopher Booker says? There are only 7 stories anyway.
Just because you know how to form the narrative doesn't mean it's going to turn out the way you want it to be.
This is how I write. I just need to throw myself in and learn how to swim.
Yeah. Before you go, though, we need to have a little party. Celebrate your muse.
You know, I'm only going away for... Okay. No, it's about something bigger than that. You know, we need a world, right? We can agree on that, I assume. We need something tangible that will be here for years, centuries to come.
What do you get out of it?
I get to know that I'm not leaving a carbon footprint. That I'm...
You're erasing your existence.
If everyone did that, though...
Then what's the point of being here?
No, that's existentialism. I'm talking ecology and shit.
It's related.
I'm too drunk to be writing the thesis for you.
I have to pee anyways.
Do you want to pee on my compost pile?
This is weirdly satisfying. That is one of like the most instinctually satisfying things, like going along, pissing on things.
Your compost pile now. You own it.
I don't want it. I just want to piss in it.
thought of us.
We're too drunk for this.
I think so
I
too.
always hoped.
Yeah. I'm asleep now. Good night. One second.
Where's my other sock?
Can you like move? I need to use the bathroom and get ready. You okay? Shit! I forgot my Dramamine. Am I going to need Dramamine? I don't know. Do you need Dramamine?
Maybe I just didn't try hard enough. Or maybe I didn't give you the time. Someone else caught your eye. Thought I had you locked away, safe for another day, but that was my first mistake. Knock, knock, are you in there? Yeah, is anybody home? Are you still mad? Can I come in? Are you decent and alone? See, I'm standing in the rain to show you that I'm making change. Or maybe it's just too late.
Is this?
Walkie-talkies. In case we split up. Cell service is pretty spotty out there, so, you know.
That's fantastic. I don't know why that's so cool.
Did you know it takes Darwin like 350 pages to even get to the Galapagos? I mean, just what the hell?
I mean, that's the romanticized part, right? Like the part that everybody recognizes. Like how people only quote that one specific when Harry met Sally scene.
But this is Charles Darwin, not Rob Reiner.
I think there's actually a copy of The Descent of Man up there. The owners leave behind a bunch of books when we go up to do our research.
Do they get a stipend too?
I would assume so.
Don't ask the question so long as the check clears.
What was that? Bernie Sanders?
No, it's Mafia. Like
I'm the Godfather.
That's definitely Bernie Sanders.
I guess it's like a little Bernie Sanders.
The big bags. I am a little Bernie Sanders. I am a little Bernie Sanders. The big bags. The big bags. I may be small. I may be but small. The bags are big. The big bags.
Yeah.
Again, this generic classical music.
I think they found that you can find Pachelbel's canon in like every song today. It's like musical DNA.
Pachelbel's canon is like the Hey Jude of the 17th century.
Is there a lot of musical criticism in English grad school?
There's criticism of everything. Can we switch it to something else?
Actually, I think I have just the thing for you.
She should have died.
As long as the Dramamine doesn't knock you out.
There would have been a
Oh, the
time
big bags!
for such a word.
This is perfect.
Tomorrow, tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow.
Welcome to Radio Tomorrow. I'm Dan Heflin.
And I'm Arnie Kent.
Today we're talking about, well, everything.
And nothing.
And nothing, that's right. But with an interesting lens.
I hope you're not going to say teenage angst.
I am not, I promise. But maybe in the ballpark of what causes teenage angst.
Acne.
Love.
Oh, really? Being with another person. The love of another.
Yes, I can hear you.
Do you plan on getting out of the car anytime soon?
En route, over and out. It's a goddamn house!
In these wild countries, it gives much delight to gain the summit of any mountain. There's an indefinite expectation of seeing something very strange, which, however often it may be balked, never failed with me to recur on each successive attempt. Everyone must know the feeling of triumph and pride which a grand view from a height communicates to the mind. In these little frequented countries, there is also joined to it some vanity, that you perhaps were the first man who ever stood on this pinnacle, or admired this view. A strong desire is always felt to ascertain whether a human being has previously visited an unfrequented spot. A bit of wood with a nail in it is picked up and studied as if it were covered with hieroglyphics. Possessed with this feeling, I was much interested by finding, on a wild part of the coast, a bed made of grass beneath a ledge of rock. Close by it there had been a fire, and the man had used an axe. The fire, bed, and situation showed the dexterity of an Indian, but he scarcely could have been an Indian, for the race in this part extinct, owing to the Catholic desire of making at one blow Christians and slaves. I had at this time some misgivings that the solitary man who had made his bed on this wild spot must have been some poor shipwrecked sailor who, in trying to travel up the coast, had here laid himself down for his dreary night.
Beautiful out here. I don't think I can get bored enough to even have an epiphany. Is that how epiphanies work? I don't know. I think I need to let things get silent, really let my thoughts take over before we get ready to move to the next time. I'm done. What? We just have one more. What's that you have in your hand there? It's just a leaf. Alright, good talk. Ready to go? Are you done? Yep. How many are we doing tomorrow? None. We're done. After that whole trip, you get 4 days of money for this? Most people spread it out. Find any more of those leaves? Huh? Those leaves you like? I couldn't tell if they were the same kind that you found at that farm. I don't know. Okay.
How close can we make it? How far in are we? Can we just
The wind moves the wild grass like the tide in an ocean or the water in a pond. Movement in sync with something larger than us, with something uncontrollable and intuitively graceful.
I wish we could be free. And I know now that I've learned from the lies you told to me. Realize you lied to me.
Hello? Roger? Well, Rebecca, if you get this or are hearing this right now, do you want to let me know at some point where you are? Basically that you're not dead, so, you know, because I don't know how to get out of here if you are. And that would be sad.
That something so simple could change so much is indicative of the world we live in. Accumulating compostable and recyclable waste erases waste. It erases the impact we have. We can erase ourselves if we really want to. The value of permanence loses its appeal for me as I age, and as I see that permanence comes in the form of oil spills, disregarded beer bottles, and mass extinctions. There is grace in nothing. In the dirt.
You hear me? Yeah, what? Is something wrong?
I have my...
What? Something about your ham? What's wrong with it? Is it indigestion? Did we eat something? Did we eat ham?
I don't think so. It just sort of feels like someone's stabbing me.
Are there knives in you right now?
Where is she? Oh my god.
For all the vultures breaking my remains. I never would have thought that I'd get God. I thought I'd taught you not. Bluebird, won't you fly away? Bluebird, won't you fly away?
What happened?
I thought you said you were done measuring the leaks.
I thought I found something else.
Some animal that stabbed stomachs, apparently. What did you find?
It's literally so stupid. I'll explain it later, but my stomach is cramping really bad right now.
Do we need to get you back?
I don't know. I think if we just sit for a second, just chill. Did you bring the water? It's a Vedawoo. A what?
A Vedawoo? Vedawoo?
It's like a myth, but not actually a myth because people do agree that it actually exists, but nobody ever finds them.
And it's just some yellowy caterpillar? This looks like any caterpillar I've ever seen.
But you don't know caterpillars.
That's true, but I'm just trying to grasp what's so special about it. Like maybe if it had horns or something, or teeth. Okay, we should get you back.
No,
see what's wrong with your stomach.
No. I'm as close as I've ever been to it.
The leaves?
Yeah. it leaves these specific markings, and I've only seen them one other time, but the first time I came up here,
That's why you come up here every year?
Kind of.
You're going to King Kongin, aren't you? Bring it back to civilization.
No, I just want to see it. Take a picture of it, maybe. Nobody has in Nebraska, and it's out here right now, somewhere.
You can barely walk right now.
I just need to rest, just a little bit more.
No, maybe you need to eat. Come on, let's go.
Bernie Sanders never gets
stomach cramps. Well, you're not Bernie Sanders, are you?
Are those my... So we were right here when I first noticed them. Somewhere in between Shady and Windmill. I must have been looking too far south, though. Or at least they weren't on any of the vegetation that I was checking. How do you coax out a caterpillar? You don't. Are you ready to go? Sun's already up.
Is there any coffee?
Yeah, there's some right there. Okay. Better drink it fast.
Okay. Ah! Shit, that's hot.
It was still dark when Rebecca woke, earlier than the crack of dawn. Her demeanor that morning failed to reveal the degree to which this might have been the result of prophesied destiny on the way to being fulfilled, or an alarm on a phone that I slept through. Either seemed likely enough.
There's that mess in your head and your crazy conscience. It's just a matter of when. Make it all come true. There's no rhyme to your reason. No black or white. There's no rhyme to your reason. No black or white.
Here, caterpillar. Come here.
I don't think that's how that works.
What's our plan of attack?
Bushes.
I'm not sure we're gonna find this thing. We have all day. Maybe we should split up. Cover the whole trail, you know? I mean, it's not really a trail, but okay. Yeah. I could go up towards the cliffs, and you can go down towards Shady. Yeah, okay. Sure.
Yeah, just point a direction and I'll head that way. Yeah.
Save the environment, because I looked for a caterpillar this one time.
What makes a caterpillar consume one's soul? Sounds like a horror movie. Soul-sucking caterpillar. This is gonna be a long day. Epiphany. Epiphany, epiphany, epiphany. Epiphany.
If I were a caterpillar, what would I be doing? Hello?
Oh, hey, Camille. I was calling to, well, talk. I want to talk to you. Are you in town? Let me know. Thanks. Camille?
Fred! Hey, it's great to hear from you.
What are you? I'm heard lately.
I'm on an ecology research trip. Well, not right now, I guess. I'm on a wild caterpillar chase.
A what?
Well, at the moment, I'm sitting here with writer's block in the middle of nowhere. But, so I guess I'm looking for a caterpillar?
You.
You need me?
To meet you.
Oh, meet. Yeah. Fred, I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna work.
Hear you?
What? Can you hear me now? Here, one second. Let me get to higher land. Okay, hold on. Can you hear me, Fred? Fred, can you hear me? What about now? Now? Can you hear me? Fred? Fred? All right, you stupid fucking caterpillar! I'm tired of this! Get out!
Camille, come quick!
I was too late. Rebecca looked at the edge, not over it, not searching for the caterpillar, not wishing to keep a piece of this moment for herself and bring it back for others. I watched, sure now of how much I'd missed in this self-imposed mission. her adventure wasn't something that exists for her alone, despite the fact that its existence depends on every one of us. The chase is over. The chase for the caterpillar and the chase for civilization. Why do we keep going back? Is the inherent satisfaction of being in the world a result of feeling like it should exist without us? When we watch our sunrises, I suspect we want to feel connected to something that has been perpetuating itself for thousands of years regardless of us. We are looking into the past events and writings to see evidence of that perpetuity. We want it for ourselves, but we know our existence precludes the possibility of being one with nature or the animals around us, of finding that sort of romanticized happiness. Happiness is forgetting this. It's grading papers. It's overanalyzing things to fit into something we know we
pays attention
don't.
to the rich white men in society, and if you listen to Dagny, it calls attention to the lack of diversity in our capitalistic utopia.
It's seeing something rare and becoming something rare because of it. I mix the compost once a week and see the pile of my waste grow smaller and smaller. The evidence that I was here become more and more negligible. There is control in this nothingness.
No, you need to completely rework that section. Alright, here's the thing.
There is a perspective that I cannot escape now. Rebecca gave this to me through a caterpillar that I never saw. Clarity. The difference is in seeing 2 feet ahead instead of 50, of having a shallow depth of focus instead of a wide one. Well, it's still too much. It's frequently too much to take at once. I sit there, surrounded by ash trees that won't be here next year, and I can't help but cry sometimes. The park doesn't need to give its attention to a crying woman, so I try to hide it by rubbing the tears back where they came from, or covertly pushing them onto my knuckles. It doesn't work, of course. I end up pushing harder, and when I open my flooded eyes, all I see is green.
Up those feet, she's got dreams worth chasing, and there's so much more earth for her to see. And if there's anything it needs is a little more green. She's not perfect, she ain't even close, but she sure is one fresh eyes and prose. Embrace the day, there ain't time worth wasting. Pick up those feet, she's got dreams worth chasing.